Thank you to all ARMY who always show up with so much love and support for this channel. Before we dive into the story that will make your heart race, make you smile, gasp, and wonder what truly happened behind the studio doors at Hybe that day, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your small support gives us the power to keep bringing the most dramatic, emotional, and exclusive stories your way. But wait, have you ever imagined what would happen if two members without any plan, without any schedule, suddenly decided to dance together out of nowhere? What would happen if two completely different energies, soft and powerful, fast and steady, precise and improvised, suddenly collided in the middle of a large studio? And every Hybe member passing by froze as if nailed to the floor. Was this a secret practice? A sudden burst of spontaneity? Or was there something hidden behind their movements? Something they wanted to express without saying a word? The day began like any other. Hybe's practice studio buzzed with footsteps, music leaking from different rooms, and staff chatting while preparing schedules. Nothing hinted that a shocking moment was about to explode. Nothing hinted that two members with totally different vibes would ignite one of the most emotional and unexpected scenes ever witnessed by people. Inside the building, Jimin arrived earlier than scheduled, wearing a loose hoodie, his bright hair falling messily around his face. He only intended to warm up, lightly rolling his shoulders, stepping side to side. Nothing dramatic, nothing intense. RM entered later, wearing a simple black cap, a light jacket, calm expression as always. He only planned to check some rap parts, turn on the monitor, and stretch his wrists. No communication, no signals, just two people in the same room by coincidence. But there was something different in the air that day, something unplanned, something that couldn't be explained. Jimin took a small step to the left, his usual warm-up. RM noticed it from the corner of his eye. Just a brief glance. But that moment changed everything. Jimin began moving his shoulders to a subtle rhythm only he could hear. RM raised an eyebrow, smiled faintly. And before Jimin even noticed, RM lifted his arm to follow the invisible beat. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Then Jimin turned his head and spotted RM mirroring him. "Hyung, what are you doing?" Jimin laughed. "I don't know," RM replied. "The rhythm feels nice." And without counting, without music, without agreement, their bodies moved. At first, lightly like two kids fooling around. Small steps, shoulder pops, playful glances. They laughed, moved, and kept dancing as if the outside world disappeared. Then the door opened. A trainee walked in and froze instantly, because what they saw was not two members joking around, but two performers whose chemistry was so real that the studio felt like a stage. RM stepped left with his long stride. Jimin followed with a smaller, quicker, elegant step. RM waved his hand like a ripple. Jimin responded with a short, precise spin that made the trainee cover their mouth, stunned. Words spread quickly like electricity. One by one, Hybe members passing the hallway peeked inside and stopped. Not because someone asked, not because they were curious, but because the moment pulled them in like gravity. Inside the studio were two opposite worlds blending perfectly. Jimin, fluid, emotional, graceful. RM, strong, rhythmic, grounded. They weren't practicing a real choreography. They weren't shooting content. They weren't trying to show off. And that is exactly why. The moment felt so pure. One staff member whispered, "This isn't dancing. This is a conversation." Jimin turned again, his hair brushing the air, and RM matched him with a powerful step that made the floor vibrate. Somewhere in the middle of it, they exchanged a smile, small, warm, and filled with silent acknowledgement. "We are creating something together." The trainees whispered. Some put a hand on their chest, overwhelmed. Some wiped their faces, unsure if what they saw was real. Others held in a laugh because RM, who rarely dances, spontaneously looked like he was genuinely having the time of his life. Then came the climax. Jimin leaped lightly forward. RM followed with a heavier step. Their movements collided not physically, but energetically. It created a wave that made everyone watching shiver. Everyone understood instantly. This moment could never be recreated. Their movements slowed. Their breathing softened. And when they stopped, the room fell silent. No applause. No shouting. Just pure, respectful silence. Until someone at the door whispered, "Hyung, that was insane. You two looked like a real dance duo." RM laughed shyly, rubbing his neck. Jimin lowered his head with a soft smile. "Just spontaneous," Jimin said. "Guess our bodies agreed today," RM added. The room burst into warm laughter. But little did they know, the story had already spread throughout the Hybe building like a mini legend. Everyone talked about it. Everyone felt they had witnessed something emotional, warm and beautiful, born naturally, without lighting, without cameras, without planning. But the story didn't end when the dance stopped. In fact, according to a few people inside the building, the real shock came after the silence when both Jimin and RM returned to their corners of the studio, breathing softly, hands resting on their knees, still processing whatever had just happened between them. A trainee, still standing frozen at the door, whispered to another, "Should we leave?" But they didn't. No one wanted to break the spell lingering in the room. Jimin lifted his head first. His eyes were calm, but there was something else, something warm, something glowing. RM noticed it too. He straightened his back, took off his cap for a moment, and exhaled deeply. "You know," RM said quietly, "we should do this more." Those words dropped like a pebble into a still lake, soft, but creating ripple after ripple. Jimin blinked, amused dance. "You mean you, Hyung?" RM laughed, embarrassed. "Maybe I've been holding back too much." A few staff members looked at each other. They knew that tone. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a throwaway comment. It was the tone artists used right before an idea was born. And just as those watching expected everything to end there, Jimin suddenly stood up straight, tugged on the sleeve of his hoodie, and said, "Hyung, one more." RM froze. "One more what?" "A short combo," Jimin said, lifting his chin toward the center of the studio. "Just 20 seconds." The entire hallway reacted at once. Some gasped softly. Some covered their mouths. Some whispered, "No way," as if they were about to witness an eclipse. RM blinked for a long moment, clearly debating with himself. Then he smirked. A slow, confident smirk that made everyone watching straighten their backs. "All right," he said. "Show me the first move." And that was it. Those simple words reignited the flame inside the studio. Jimin stepped forward, lifted one hand, and created a sharp, clean motion like slicing the air. RM followed, a bit slower, a bit heavier. But the synchronization was undeniable. The staff felt it immediately. This wasn't just spontaneous dance anymore. This was the beginning of something. They continued, step after step, movement after movement. Jimin led with grace. RM adapted with surprising fluidity. Their differences didn't clash, they complemented each other so naturally that even the trainees watching whispered things like, "They look like they've practiced this 4 weeks. How are they so in sync? This feels important." And then, right as the 20 seconds ended, Jimin finished with a sharp turn, while RM stopped with a grounded stance beside him, to completely opposite ends of a spectrum standing, perfectly balanced. This time, applause did break out. Not loud, not chaotic, but soft. Emotional applause from people who knew they'd just witnessed something rare. Jimin covered his face in embarrassment. RM just laughed, brushing his sleeve dramatically as if he'd just completed a world tour. "You're too good," RM said. "You're too brave," Jimin replied. The moment hung between them warm, honest, unplanned. And as they walked off the studio floor, side by side, one staff member whispered a question that now echoes through the hallways of Hybe. Was that just a moment? Or the start of a new chapter? Because deep down, everyone felt it. Whatever happened in that room wasn't accidental. It was a spark.